Young man, I wish to speak to you today about pornography.
Every day I see men who wish they hadn't slipped off the edge and made their wives cry.
This was not a good thing to be doing, but like addiction happens, it just little by little, and I couldn't stop.
I was attacked by Satan from the cradle, and I never got a chance to experience mortality without this cloud over me.
I was so far gone that I had no idea whether it was the spirit or the adversary.
It's just a preconception that Satan has placed in us since coming into this world kind of as teenagers, that there's no way we could ever amount to anything.
Will you ever be rescued? Will you make it through your own survival story? The answer is yes.
This is a new weapon that Satan has been using.
Deception,
we're not talking
distraction,
about it.
discouragement.
I fight to watch men reaccess the power of God.
I am looking tonight.
It's not out there.
It's become far too normalized.
It's
for men,
normalized.
young and
I
old,
realize now that I am a warrior
who care enough about this battle between good and evil
against the adversary
to sign on and speak
if
up.
I turn my life around and be the person that they need.
We are at war, and for these next few minutes, I want to be a one-man recruiting station.
Welcome to the Eternal Warrior Podcast, helping young people in their quest for self-mastery, sharing stories from the battlefront in the war against Satan and pornography. We are so pleased, first of all, just to be continuing this. I think it's just grand. It just hit me just now, how amazing this is that we can talk about this and that this podcast has kept going. We can see the downloads you guys are making on the podcast on your different listening apps. Our biggest one in the last 7 days was 112 on October 14th. Yeah, so keep it up, guys. Keep listening. And we have an epic person to interview today, and I feel like I can't even introduce him right now because he's actually Garrett's PWT, personal warrior trainer. And we'll talk more about that. You want to introduce him, Garrett?
Well, sure. Simon, welcome.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Simon has been my personal warrior trainer and has helped me with a lot of my own personal struggles. So we're excited to get his perspective today and hear about his unique struggles and how he's overcome. So Simon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, sure. So I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. Most of my family lives in Kentucky and Tennessee. Actually moving there in just a couple weeks to Tennessee with my wife. And I've been doing remodeling and construction work for a long time, but I've decided to make this shift to doing more kind of behavioral therapy kind of stuff. So excited to get into that. I'm a big music guy, big martial arts guy.
What kind of martial arts do you do?
Most recently karate.
Okay.
And jiu-jitsu.
Does that mean you've okay. I was going to say, does that mean you've done another one? But
yeah, okay. I've dabbled. I love MMA training, but it's kind of, we live in a small town right now, so we don't have as much, training facilities for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, It's not really a small town activity.
Yeah.
But,
jiu-jitsu.
Cool. Unless you count Wednesday night activities.
Can I dive into your music? So what do you mean by music guy?
Yeah, sure. So I've always loved music. For the longest time, I was always trying to start a band growing up. And I would beg people at high school, people that I barely knew, be like, hey, you play drums? Do you want to be my drummer? Do you want to be my band?
Yo.
Or my friends who didn't sing or do anything, I'd beg them to try to be do something.
That's awesome. So what did you do? Were you a guitarist or a
I was a
singer?
drummer
Oh,
to start.
that's awesome.
To
Yo,
start, but then where'd you go after that?
Dabbled in guitar and piano and recording and producing. I haven't done it as much lately, but I do like to produce songs every now and then.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. You go ahead.
okay. I relate to that so much. I started the rock band club in my school.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I wanted to get people together and doing bands. It died pretty quickly. But it was fun. I was in like
What did you play?
I play guitar mostly. But now I just play everything. So I can do drums or bass, or I can sing, I can do violin if you need a violin solo.
Get some yellow card type stuff going.
Yeah. And I've actually like I've composed music for a video game before.
Oh, really?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So there's another fun fact about Eli.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the game's called Mars, and it was made by my friend. And yeah, it's probably not the best example of stuff I could make, but it was cool. It's a nice thing to have under your belt.
It's more than I have. I mean, I consider myself pretty musical, but all I do is sing, so.
Dang. We need more singers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. You all chose less cool instruments than, the human voice.
Yeah, that's true. Not all of us can be blessed with that. The gift of singing.
That's awesome. Well, I love the drums so much. I think that's a great part of the band you chose to be.
Well, it's a fun instrument.
Well, Simon, can you tell us? I mean, so that's a little bit about you. I'm curious. How did you start with all of this? How is pornography and this issue really been a part of your life?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's probably not that unique of a journey. Now that we've listened to this podcast for a couple years and heard like everybody's story, like I was exposed as a kid. I saw something on a school computer, believe it or not. And I was just searching for like, hey, let's get a cool backdrop of stars or space or something for my kid, like my user backdrop or whatever. I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 years old. Saw something pop up, and it led to a very isolated, lonely, addicted teenage years.
Man,
and I didn't talk to anybody about it for a long time. What were you gonna say, sir?
How old do you think you were around that time?
I must have been 11 or 12 when I first was exposed.
Wow.
And by what point would you say that you were addicted?
It's hard to say. I mean, access to that stuff was, I mean, honestly, that's a hard thing to debate, right? Because people debate whether addiction is even real nowadays.
Right.
The fact that I couldn't stop probably says something about that. I mean, just that curiosity fed into it more and more, and I knew that I shouldn't do it, and I didn't want to, but I still did it. So,
I mean, from what I understand of clinical psychology, generally the difference between a diagnosed issue and a non-diagnosed issue is just whether it's affecting your daily life. Is it causing difficulties in your daily life? And so I think the same thing kind of applies for addiction. Obviously, addiction is characterized by not being able to stop, but is your addiction affecting your daily life? And that's usually the dividing line between someone having a diagnosed addiction versus not.
Oh yeah.
But
okay,
but yeah, lonely teenage years. It's unfortunate,
Yeah.
but it is a common thing. I think both Eli and I know how that feels, and that
Yeah.
isolation.
The dog days of high school and junior high.
And already nobody likes high school, and then
I know.
on top of that,
just sprinkle some addiction with your misery. That's fine. So given that, what was the realization? What was the thing that caused you to reach out for help?
So I think it's really hard to remember the details. I'm super fuzzy on it, to be honest. But I think my parents saw something, and they didn't open like outright know that it was me, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty obvious. So I decided to talk to my bishop. I finally got up the courage to talk to him. I remember sitting through these youth meetings over and over, hearing like, "Oh, if you want to talk to the bishop, like he's here for you." And I could never get the courage to do it. But I don't know what happened, but I just finally got the courage to do it. And he encouraged me to talk to my parents. I must have been like 14 or 15, maybe 16.
Okay.
I think that's around where I turned around and opened up to my dad. Yeah, that's crazy. Was he the one who introduced you to Sons of Helaman?
No, I actually didn't hear about Sons of Helaman or Men of Moroni until after my mission, like 2 or 3 years after my mission.
Dang. So how was it like after you opened up to your bishop? Like, did you develop any strategies to like try to combat the addiction?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think this is kind of the story that gets told a lot. It was kind of like, yeah, we're going to help you repent and don't do it again. And, you know, put up a filter on your internet maybe. And
right.
And don't take the sacrament for a week. And that was
and then
it.
It'll be better.
Yeah, that's all you got to do, right?
Yeah. All better. No.
Some of those platitudes don't really help. They're too vague. None of them are bad things. I don't think any of them are bad or ill-intentioned. They're so vague that you're like, okay.
Well, yeah, and I wish it was that easy, that simple.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is these aren't designed to help an addiction. These are designed to help someone realize they've made a bad decision. And that it's not helpful. We already know we've made a bad decision. We know that every time we do this, it's not good. And we can't stop. That's the problem that has to be addressed. And yeah, it'd be nice if more bishops understood that. I've definitely met some that do. But this is often the story. Yeah, I feel you there.
I think it's important.
Better.
Yeah, it's gotten better, and I think one of the things that allows it to get better is having men or youth in the ward that are open to talking about this.
Right.
Like there's an unnecessary stigma on pornography and sexual self-mastery that I don't think needs to be there. And because it has been there in the past, bishops they're hesitant, right? They're hesitant to make any mistakes.
And I loved hearing, by the way, you tell your story about that, Garrett. about you reaching out to your ward and setting up those groups and things. Like, you are a freaking boss for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Garrett's
I
an
actually
epic
had
man.
I had a positive experience just this past Sunday. I was asked to give a lesson in priesthood, so we had almost every man in the ward and the priest quorum come in, and we had to talk about this specifically and specifically about fighting Satan and
Oh, that's
understanding
awesome.
that we are fighting Satan. So that was a really positive experience. And I remember afterwards, my elders quorum came and my elders quorum president came and shook my hand, and he said, "I don't know if you realize this, but what you taught and what you did today just changed our elders quorum for the better." And I said, I agree. Yes, absolutely. But thank you. I appreciate that. And I think it's great that he recognizes that, and that people can recognize that it's okay. It's okay to talk about this stuff. It's not the end of the world.
Break the dogma. Break the stigma. I want to,
love it.
Yeah. We're on the brink of talking about these principles, but I want to hear your mission experience really quick. How did that go?
Sure. So on the mission, I loved it. I served in St. George, Utah. So
hey,
yeah, I was.
That's me. You served in my.
I covered Panguitch and Cedar City and all of that stuff.
Wow.
So
I live there now. That's awesome.
That is so crazy. Wow.
Yeah. The members there are amazing. You guys are awesome.
I mean,
that's awesome. And
that must have been real foreign for you.
Oh man, I couldn't understand anybody. No, just kidding.
And was the addiction much of a struggle on the mission? Or had you kind of figured out something by then?
So to be honest, I had made some I don't know if you would even call it progress, just the fact that I didn't have the access that I could back at home as much.
Right.
So there was that, but I mean, there was still some other misbehaviors, like masturbation. You know, you don't need pornography for that, if we're just being real.
Right.
And then we got iPads like 3/4 of the way through the mission, and that made it so much harder. I mean, so to be honest, I mean, I had some really, really good bishops, but until I started the program, I really didn't even know how to fight back. I felt like I was just, let's just cut out every possible source I can, and maybe I can hold on for another 4 days instead of 3. Yeah, it was good just because I didn't have as much access.
Now, for our listeners who don't understand what Simon just described is a process we call white knuckling, and that's where you just you grip onto the last vestige of hope as hard as you possibly can. You know, turning your knuckles white, hoping that'll somehow work. And it is It is not considered to be a good way to go about addiction recovery. It doesn't work.
This has been an Eternal Warrior description, definition.
There you go. That's right.
With Garrett.
Awesome.
But Simon, so that being the case, you had some difficulties on your mission. You came home from your mission. You served your whole mission, I assume.
I did.
You came home. I imagine those difficulties only got harder.
It definitely did. I mean, almost immediately. I struggled. I found that my bishops were a little bit, as I was more willing to be open with my bishops, they were more helpful. You know, I'd tell them like, hey, this is not working. I need some help here. So some of them would offer to be like my daily accountability partners of sorts, and they would really work with me on strategies. But I moved around so much that I got a new bishop like every 3 months, it felt like. Right. So, yeah, I struggled through that for, like 2-3 years. just kind of going in circles, it felt like.
Dang.
Now you bring up I feel like you bring up a problem that many of us have experience with, and that is the moving around and getting, your bishop roulette, so to speak. You're gonna have, especially if you're moving around a lot, you have a bunch of different bishops, and some might help out a lot, and others not so much. How did that affect your struggle?
Well, there's some positives and some negatives. On the good side, it helped me to become very comfortable with talking about my problems with those with the priesthood keys over me,
Oh,
So
wow.
I'd be like, oh, new bishop, I mean, I don't have anything to hide. I'm an open book. Whether I was winning at the time or losing, I would always tell them, hey, I have a history with this, and I'm working on getting better. This is what I'm doing. On the negative side, I would start getting a good rhythm with a bishop, and then I'd get broken up
Yeah.
pretty
Have
quickly.
to restart. Man.
Did you have any, I guess, not that your bishop isn't personal, but did you have any more personalized accountability partners at this time?
Like family or friends or something?
Yeah, family or friends,
Yeah.
somebody who remained in contact with you despite moving around.
I told my family before my mission, but honestly, I didn't. They were always back in Georgia, and I never really didn't talk with them much about that. I had one friend, and I still talk with him about it actually. And then once I started with group, those guys became some of my closest accountability partners.
So how did you start group? How'd you get introduced to the Men of Moroni program?
So I found I saw a Facebook ad for the Like Dragons book, and I bought it, read it, and thought I would try it out. And
Nice.
I was Men of Moroni. That's what I started with, and I paid for it all by myself. I didn't tell anybody that I had started it. Actually, I just wanted to
Really?
just wanted to do it, see if it would work. And honestly, it was such an awesome transition. I felt like I finally had some tools to learn how to fight back.
At this point, were you married, or did that come later?
That was later. This was about 3 years after my mission. So,
okay,
it's been a while.
So, among the principles they teach in the Men of the Moroni program, what would you say impacted you the most?
Drilling and sparring are some of the biggest, most helpful principles that I have found personally. Now,
Okay.
I'm careful to say this because I know that everybody's different and things are going to work better for some people than others. But I personally think that the drilling and the sparring aspect of the program is some of the best training that Men of Moroni offers.
Yeah.
I
fully agree.
Would you mind summarizing those terms for our listeners?
Sure. So, sparring, as I said, I love martial arts, so I'll explain it in the context of fighting first. So, in full contact sports like MMA or kickboxing, sparring plays a huge role in helping a fighter become good at using his techniques in the context of a fight. Because it's one thing to stand in really neat, orderly lines, like at a karate class, as the instructor tells you how to throw a front push kick or something. But it's a completely different experience to apply that front push kick to a full contact fight with an opponent actively trying to block and strike and control and strangle and submit you and knock you out. So sparring is light contact, very light contact. You're not trying to kill each other or hurt each other. freestyle or positional sparring. It's fighting, practicing, but practice fighting for the context of a full contact fight.
Okay.
So in the context
Crazy.
of the program, I mean, I don't know, would it be easier just to kind of do an example real quick?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's do it. It's more
Who do you want
of a psychological
Who do you want to spar with?
exchange.
Ooh, I don't know. Garrett, do you want to spar?
Sure. Am I playing the role of Satan or am I playing the good guy here?
I feel like we should do rock, paper, scissors or something. All right.
Oh, I'll be the good guy.
Go.
You be
Okay.
Satan.
Okay. So, Garrett, why do you fight? Why don't you just give up?
I am fighting because it's not worth it. It doesn't bring me anything more than momentary pleasure and a lot of pain. So that's why I'm fighting.
And so then I could push back a little bit, still talking as the adversary, and be like, well, what if you don't feel like it?
Well, if I don't if I
think about this.
I may not feel like keeping myself clean at certain times, but I always feel like being good to my family and being an example for my family. And so short term, it might not make sense, but long term, it does make sense. So I will always feel like being a blessing and an example for my family.
It's awesome. And then I could keep pushing back on that if we
Keep
wanted,
going. Yeah. Lay into me, Satan. Bring it on.
All right. Well, okay. Well, so in PWT sessions, we always focus on the context of manpower. So I'll do that. Well,
yeah.
Why is that so important to you? I mean, with these goals that you have, I mean, are they really that relevant? They're probably not going to help you to do any of those things. You could probably just forget about
them. No, sir. I cannot forget about them. Yeah. The moment I begin to, the moment I forget to do my manpower is the moment I stop fighting today and I stop fortifying for tomorrow. So every day counts. Heck, not every day, not even every day. Every second counts.
Man. Can I make an observation here? It seems like I was really curious what would happen because I've never seen like a online spar before. It gets really intense when it's in person. But yeah, it seems like you start out with a challenge to like why should you keep doing these standards when it's hard? And Garrett responds with why it's valuable to him. And in this way, we prepare each other for the actual battle of when we don't feel like it, when we're at our house and there's something we should be doing, there's something we shouldn't be doing, and we get those thoughts in our head of like, oh, well, just this time, it's okay.
Right.
You're so tired, you don't want to do it.
Well, it's like the like, we don't have to talk about from a religious standpoint, but like the sacrament prayer to always remember the Savior, right? When you spar, it helps you to practice waking yourself up to those reasons for fighting, because it's hard to always remember that. If you don't practice it, like it's it's just not going to happen on its own.
Right. Ah, I need to do that more with my friends. I'm really good at being Satan. I'm really good at it. I've had a lot of experience.
I would love to see an in-person version of this. Like
Yeah.
that sounds so cool.
Like the guy's poking the other guy in the shoulder, like, "Hey, you want to lose? You want to lose right now? Let's do it. Come on."
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, standing up to each other, interrupting each other. Maurice taught the principle of like, Satan can just keep talking to you forever. He can keep making points about why you should break your values. And so after you find yourself, you just need to stop, like cut it off. Just do the thing that brings you joy and that you plan to do. So that was one of the important principles that I learned while I was with Maurice. And he really valued, like, you got to think of them fast. They got to be something that you can just say really quickly. Whereas other clinicians like Cody Haas, they encourage people to like really stop, take time to ponder, who am I? What do I represent? So it's interesting. It can take a lot of different forms.
Well, yeah, and I think both are valid. I don't know as much about current fighting, MMA fighting or anything like that, but I do know a fair amount about, shall we say, HEMA, which would be sword fighting. Yeah, so
I didn't know that. That's so lit.
Yeah, so being, even in a sword fight, you're fighting with a sword. You don't rely on one single attack, right? You don't do the entire attack with just thrusts, right? That wouldn't work. And at some point your opponent's going to catch on and you're going to get beat, right? And so as you were saying, Eli, sometimes it's just a split second response. Satan says something to you, the answer, you just spout it right back at him. And other times that might not work. You might have to do, some flourishes and some a strike here and a thrust there, and then finish him off with,
right,
your final blow. And it takes a little bit more thought. So sometimes both are valid, and both can lead to defeating Satan.
Yeah. Oh, my man Garrett doing medieval martial arts up in here.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I dabble.
I had no idea.
He's a singer. He's a medieval knight.
Oh, really important question. We haven't, as far as my knowledge. Oh wait, no, we did have one PWT, I think, or a mentor.
We had a mentor. He's not a personal. Yeah, he's not a personal warrior trainer.
So, Simon, would you like to explain to us what a personal warrior trainer is?
Yes, absolutely. So, with personal warrior training, we focus on Manpower, which is the 6 daily habits. We focus on helping you to create space from destructive habits and beliefs and refocus on your true values and build passion in your life for the kind of person that you want to be. That's the goal of all the daily habits that we help you to set. So
yeah,
I could kind of go through the agenda that we follow if you'd like.
Please. Yeah, that's actually just what I was going to ask. What does a typical PWT session look like?
Okay, yeah, sure. So we start off after the orientation meeting. That's when we set the goals and kind of talk about your plans, kind of like what you want things to look like. The first thing we do is we collect your score from the previous week. And then we do a little bit of sparring, kind of like what we demonstrated there. give you a chance to practice responding to common attacks on Manpower.
Right.
And then we reflect on some victories and some hard battles from the week. And we identify the attacks used by the adversary. We take it through the levels of the chemical scale, if possible. We then discover some truths and some battle strategies that can fight back adequately. And then we finish with some more sparring. I like to call it positional sparring, which is where you, in an actual, again, I'll use the MMA example. If someone consistently gets you down on the ground and they keep getting takedowns on you, then you practice for that kind of attack. You practice responding. Oh, they're doing a takedown, so I'm going to shove their head down and sprawl and spin around to get them in a choke or something. So we do that with your Manpower. We practice, oh, Satan's been hitting me with this heart attack lately. When I get home from work, I feel tempted to break my end goal and get out my phone and look at YouTube. So my new plan, just kind of throwing stuff together on the fly here. When I get home, I'm gonna turn my phone off and go say hi to my wife or mom or whatever. So you could practice that. I could spar with you and be like, "Hey, YouTube sounds pretty good right now." And you'd respond, okay, "No way, man. I'm not doing that crap." And then practice shutting off your phone, like off. And then I try to convince you again. Are you sure? It sounds pretty fun. And you practice, no, I'm a son of God. I love my wife. Say your reasons for fighting. So that's how you would spar that.
You just got 10 different notifications on social media. Like, you can't turn it off now.
Exactly.
Man.
So we end by that and then make plans for the week and set another time.
That's awesome. And the score you collect at the beginning, that refers to the Manpower squares, the 6 different goals that you have in the week. What are the different scores that you collect, and what do they mean?
So there's the names of the different squares.
Yeah.
So we got ministering, which is some way to get outside of yourself and serve others. There's accountability and action, which is being accountable to someone, keeping track of your goals in some way, and also some form of action. So usually some kind of exercise, or it could be running a drill. Then there's the end goal, which is new pattern or no. So finding a kind of like that pattern example I shared, like if you have a history of doing a negative thing, find a way to flip that into a positive pattern.
Nice.
There's P, prayer, W, which is typically 2 times a day, 5 minutes. And then writing, some form of writing to reflect and plan and discover. And then reading, which is reading scriptures or some kind of inspired literature.
Nice.
Now, I know,
that's awesome.
Having gone through the personal warrior training meeting, I know that you don't, when you collect the scores for this, you collect one of those 6 goals for every day of the week, so a total of 42. But then you also collect days that were consecutive days and how many successful days. And I just to comment on that, I think that's important, that we're not just focused on, okay, here are the, your 6 goals each day, and that's 42 total goals. And if you do well, that's great. And if you don't do well, shame on you. That's not the goal of this. It's the goal is to
yes, shame. Shame is the goal.
That's right. Yeah. The goal is to recognize your own fights, right? To recognize when you're winning, how you're winning, and how often you're winning, right? You might lose one day entirely, or you just go off the deep end, but that still means you made, let's say you lost 2 of your goals, and it ended up with you and losing your fight with Satan, and you've now messed up one day. That's still 6 days and 35 solid goals that you just made, throughout that week, right? And that's 35 out of 42, right? It's the goal is to give you hope in that you are fighting and you are winning, even if you do lose every once in a while. It's not the end of the world. You are fighting and you're winning.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's super important.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
How is the process of becoming a personal warrior trainer? How did that come into play for you?
Well, I was working with my PWT at the time. Shout out to McCade. He's a boss. And
funny
he
story.
was-
I've actually also been with McCade. McCade was my first personal warrior trainer, and then I switched to Simon when McCade I ended up getting a job opportunity somewhere. So, but yeah, just
yeah,
That's so cool.
cool little connection there. He's great. Yeah, he helped me to get so much progress in my fight, just like helping me to understand my own thoughts and feelings and what was going on and like patterns in my life. I know from personal experience that just the program and PWT can be really helpful. But yeah, he kind of introduced me to the idea maybe I could be a PWT myself, and the idea of getting some more advanced training and getting paid for it, it definitely appealed to me as I was graduating and getting ready to get married and stuff.
Nice.
okay.
Oh,
So the process of training, is that what you wanted to?
Yeah,
hear about?
how is that process of training? What do you go through for that?
So Ruben is the guy over all the PWTs, and it's you have to read a couple different books, like Atomic Habits and Failing Forward, and like Dragons Did They Fight, obviously, and he takes you through some trainings on mentoring skills and also on like passion projects and warrior chemistry. And honestly, it's kind of just it's like the things in the program just way more tactical. So
okay.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I could share one of the biggest insights I learned from training.
Yeah.
if you'd like.
That's curious. You said it was tactical. So like, you say tactical, I hear.
What does that mean?
I hear like way more like, okay, we're setting out a plan. This is our battle plan. These are our strategies. These are the tactics we're going to use. That's what I hear. I don't know if that's what you mean, but that's what I hear.
Oh man, I don't know if that's the right word actually. Smart maybe.
Okay.
Smart might be the better word, because I think sometimes in the fight we overburden ourselves. We're like, in order to win, I have to, like, my manpower squares have to. They have to. It's like going to get a college degree to get these manpower squares done. Like, that's not helpful. That's actually more hurtful than helpful. So helping you to be more smart in like the ways that you set your habits, making sure that you have a time and a place and a cue within your schedule for every single one. That's something that was a big takeaway.
Yeah, as opposed to like, well, just like giving general principles and like blowing out, hey, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. Why don't you try it? You're getting into the specific nitty gritty of, okay, at what point in your day is this specific action going to take place? When are you going to fulfill this goal? And when do you think like you will be attacked next? Is that kind of what we're getting at?
Yeah, and also making it so that you're not putting another like unnecessary burden on yourself. Making it obvious, making it easy, but also effective.
Nice. That's awesome.
I think tacticals fits that actually. I think I mean, it is on a mental battleground, so it's obviously it's abstracted, but it is tactical. You are you are sitting down and you are defining, hey, these are my strategies, and this is when I'm going to employ those strategies and how I'm going to do it, and which is tactical. You are being
Yeah.
strategic
Sure.
about your fight.
Garrett approves of the semantics.
That's right.
It's a whole different debate.
Stamp.
Yeah.
Approved.
And the best strategies are simple. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Well, you mentioned before the recording, talking about how this helped out with your brother. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure. So this ties into drilling a little bit. So
Gotcha.
I went
That's
to
another good principle.
Yeah, it's kind of drilling, kind of sparring a little bit.
Yeah.
My wife and I went to visit my family back in Georgia a couple weeks ago, and my younger brother, he's a super cool kid, awesome kid. He has autism, but he's made so much progress. I mean, and I hesitate to, like, he used to have some kind of bad behaviors and stuff, but no, he's such a cool kid now. And I know that he wants to do good things and he wants to be happy and make the most of his life. He just sometimes gets stressed out and he doesn't know how to, speaking from an outside perspective here, he doesn't necessarily know how to deal with his, the pain and discomfort that he feels.
The emotions are hard. They get bottled up and there's not a way out to express it. Yeah, I get that on a personal level.
Yeah. And I would love to hear your perspective on this as well. But yeah, so he was really stressing out about having to go to school the next day one night, like starting to yell. And he was just like, I can't tell exactly what he was thinking. Sometimes it's hard to read, but he was just clearly very stressed. And we're trying everything. We're trying to talk him down like, hey, you got to go to school so you can learn and read and get a job and stuff. And it's not helping him at all. It's not helping at all. It's just making it worse.
Right.
So I decided, okay, well, Lorenzo, let's just try, bro. Let's just practice. Let's just pretend like we're going to school. No stress, no pressure. We're not going to actually do it, so there's nothing to fear. So we went up to the living room, got some chairs out, like, yeah, let's pretend like this is the bus. So I told him, all right, come in the door, pretend like you're getting in the car. We're having a nice, cheerful conversation. Like, this is good. This is having a good time. And then we're like, oh, we're here at school. Practice like pretending like, all right, you want to walk me to your school? Show me it around a little bit. And we walk to the door, quotes. Like, I'm saying like, this is such a cool school, man. Nice to meet you. Your teacher, she seems cool. And then just kind of, we like walked it through and just kind of had fun with it. And then the next day he went through the exact same thing and had no problems at all. Like, he had a great day of school. So that's kind of an example of, you could maybe say, drilling.
No, it absolutely is. I think it's a really valuable principle that in the case of, trying to help your brother, that's I feel like that's a somewhat extreme case of drilling where you are trying to help him come down from a emotional high, but I feel like we should be doing the exact same thing with pornography, right? We should slow it down and drill, practice that, what it is we're actually going to do when this feeling comes up or this feeling comes up. What are we going to do? What steps are we going to take?
Yes, we should nail down that definition of drilling. So it sounds like from what we got so far, drilling is when you practice a situation before it happens. And in my experience, like, the more specific you get with it, the better the outcome will be when you actually go into that situation. I absolutely love that example with your brother. I can maybe imagine what he's been going through. It's hard because autism is such a broad spectrum, but it definitely sounds like it was a big bout of anxiety, and he was stuck in the negative what ifs of school, possibly, or just like I don't want to do this right now. And you putting him through that drill of, imagine this as a positive experience instead of staying in the negative feedback loop, like broke his reality. Broke the reality that he was playing back in his head. Yeah, I this is awesome. I haven't been able to articulate like how Sons of Helaman has helped me with my struggles with autism. But I do know that these principles helped me kind of push out of those negative thoughts mostly.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think it just takes away the fear of it, because sometimes Satan, whether it's Satan or it's our own chemistry that's been hyped up, either one, it hypes up these situations and makes it seem so much more scary or stressful or annoying or frustrating than they actually are. So if you kind of envision how it's going to happen in a positive way, then it takes the bite off of it when it actually happens.
Yeah. I've seen this so often, like how anxiety interacts with autism. Like, I think I've shared this before, but my personal definition of autism, what it's been like for me, is it's being human times 10. Like any normal situation you experience, like you still experience normal situations like everyone else, and you react, you have the same feelings as everyone else, but those feelings are times 10. And when they are times 10, your behavior will change. And so, like, I'm trying to think of an example. When, scrupulosity. Scrupulosity is big among the people I've met
I'm interested in
who are
that kind of stuff.
autistic. Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
You might want to.
Oh, nothing else.
You might want to define scrupulosity for our listeners.
Yes. Right. So, scrupulosity is when you're like, it's often compared to OCD. Like, you want to follow the rules so well, and if you don't follow the rules, then you're a terrible person. And so oftentimes, when like you're in a school setting and the class hasn't been very good, and so the teacher like raises her voice and says, hey, we need to stop this, you guys are being terrible. And that will work for, like, she has to be that intense to calm like the majority of the kids down, and it will work for like, it will like shock them for like a good maybe the rest of the day, but then the next day they'll be up and at being boisterous again, or maybe they'll be a little bit more cautious, but they'll try to get back to that line of let's just have fun. Whereas me and a lot of my friends, they get that experience and they have trauma for life. Like just for being yelled at. And then that can like totally change how they perceive reality from that moment of like, I need to be obedient. I need to avoid someone using this tone of voice as much as humanly possible. And if someone uses that voice with me, then I've done something terribly wrong. And it's,
Sounds
so
really damaging.
Yeah, it can get intense. And Sons of Helaman really, really taught me, like, especially with warrior chemistry, like, it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to, like, be a little scary sometimes, because we have the power to overcome big trials if we put our mind to it and we're resilient. So yeah, I really hand it to your brother. It sounds like he's gone through some tough times, and I'm glad he's doing good.
I'm glad you're there to help
thanks.
him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When I visit, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
How long have you?
And I feel for autistic people, because I think sometimes people just like, what's the word? Like, blanket them into one group and don't see that, like, in the worst case scenario, don't see them as like full people. And it's awful.
Yeah.
Just because, like, he maybe doesn't behave as well sometimes, but he really is. I mean, I strongly believe that everybody, we're all children of God, and we all, deep down in our spirits, we want to be with him. We want to follow him. We want to do good and to live a life close to him.
So, pulling it full circle, not to claim that addicts are the same as autistic people. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I recognize a similarity where you said, people discriminate, or they have a prejudice, not in that they're doing terrible things to them, but they might not view them as full people. And I feel like that's a very similar effect that we might see specifically with pornography addiction.
Yeah.
Where we feel like
that's exactly, it's exactly what I was about to say.
We feel like if we share that those around us won't view us as real people. Or we're viewed as maybe like subhuman, we're lesser than them because we've got this, we struggle. And I don't.
Right.
When the fact of the matter is, like, if you're a guy, you've probably more than likely seen pornography.
Yeah, right. It's all of us.
Let's be real here.
Majority of the people. I remember as a previous autistic addict, I can validate your words. But I remember in school, we were having a debate. We were practicing debating different points of view. I think it was in an English class, and there was this court case against this baseball player who had committed incest with his sister, and the courts decided to let him go play baseball again, and the team decided to let him back on again. And he was, he had fully admitted, I'm guilty. This was wrong. I regret it. But the debate was over whether he should have been let back on, or whether as punishment he should have served his time and not get back on. And this girl I was talking with was so adamant, like, if anyone comes near doing something like that, they made their choice and that's it. Like, they need to go to jail. They need to suffer the consequences, and there's no grace or mercy for them. And that was really tough because I was struggling with pornography at the time, and going through Sons of Helaman, and I was trying to fight the shame as she was describing this, and thinking of, like, how can I possibly explain like my perspective to her. It seems super hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to make this too religious, but
Oh,
I
totally.
think
Make this religious. This is about our fight coming back to Heavenly Father.
yeah, the atonement. We always in church we all talk about how endless and infinite the atonement is, but then in the back of our minds, it sometimes feels like, except for that group over there, I don't know
Except
about
for
them.
yeah.
It's such a shame. I think maybe some worse than others, but we've all done bad things.
Mm-hmm.
We've all
Right.
done, I mean, some things that even we ourselves would say are horrible things.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we're excluded from the
And
atonement? I don't think so.
I mean, there's a book on this. It's a very small book. I suggest anybody go out and read this. It's a very old book as well. It's called Believing Christ. And it just discusses the
Ooh,
difference between
yeah.
believing in Christ and believing Christ, and what that like why just removing that one small word, what it does, to our faith. And that one, we can say I believe in Christ, but do you believe he can help you? Right? Do you believe in his power for you? Do you believe in his power for them? Right? Are you believing Christ rather than just believing in him? So it's an interesting perspective, and it touches on that. So, yeah.
So good, man. So good. What did he mention that was that in a talk? Because I've definitely heard that before.
It could be. I'm certain there's probably it's not it's an old idea, so I'm certain there's probably talks on.
Oh, yeah, it was the Faith Matters podcast. I listened to. He was the author of that book was featured there.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, we can just like you said, totally believing in Christ, but somehow Satan sneaks in that doubt of like, well, when he says it covers all sin, he didn't mean you.
That was, as a matter of fact,
you have a great Satan voice.
You should be proud of that, Eli. You're fantastic Satan voice. No,
well, actually, it's just yourself.
As I mentioned earlier, this Sunday I had an opportunity to talk to the men of my elders quorum, the priest quorum, and the first topic we touched on in this very sensitive subject wasn't how evil pornography is or how prevalent it was or anything like that. The first topic we touched on was that Satan is the enemy, not you. And I feel like it touches on this principle that we're talking about, understanding and recognizing that it doesn't matter what you've done or what I've done or what anybody's done, Christ's atonement applies to you, right? It applies to all of our situations, right? We have to believe that, because if we don't, there's no reason for all of this.
So true. So true.
So Simon, you've told us about your journey and some of the principles that really affected you. I'm curious, why do you fight now?
Well, I'll give you my quick response, as Eli said, and then I'll get into it. So I fight because I am a beloved, invaluable son of God. I courageously accept the invitation he extends to join my efforts in his work to bless his children. I have an amazing, beautiful wife who I love so much, and I'm not perfect, but I try my absolute best to appreciate, support, and encourage the goodness in her and in the other women in my life. And yeah, honestly, everything else I fight from in my life stems back to those things. There are always going to be doubts and attacks that Satan uses on me, but I know who I am, and I know that God has a work for me to do.
So powerful, man.
So good. So, Simon, let me just, as one of your trainees, I would like to extend my gratitude to you. You clearly had your own struggles and your own fight, and you made it through them. You worked through them. You grew from them. And no one said you had to turn around and provide that for others. And yet you've chosen to. And you've helped me, and you've helped lots of people. So thank you for that, and I hope you continue to do that. I imagine you will continue to do that. Your struggle and the lessons you've learned helped all of us.
Oh man, well, I appreciate that. Just to give. I mean, you got to give yourself some more credit. Like, I'm a sounding board, and I'm the guy that you talk to, and I take notes and I talk back to you and help you talk through things. So,
well, I mean, I appreciate your humility, but you got to take some credit too. I'm not, I'm not going to idolize you, but I am going to recognize that the fact that you choose to help others is huge. That's a big deal.
Well, I mean, I could say the same for you. I appreciate it, but I just, again, like hearing your story about how you helped your ward and that elders quorum discussion, that's so freaking cool. Like, it's so cool to just be part of like this group with you and Eli and Ruben and Maurice and McCade. It's just such a cool thing to be part of this team of warriors.
Compliment fight. Fight, 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 fight.
I will die on this hill.
I believe it. He will. All right. Well, this has been awesome, and it's just about time to wrap up. So we're so grateful to you, and for doing what you do. And oh yeah, if there's any like resources you want to give to our listeners, like a way to reach out to you or reach out, we'll give them the general program stuff, but yeah, let us know and we can put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I'm happy to talk with you. I'm sure you could go through the Life Changing Services email and get in touch with me there.
For sure.
Right.
To our listeners, please, if you have a story that you'd like to share or questions, you can always reach out to us. I believe our email is podcast@lifechangingservices.org.
You nailed it.
Yes, score.
Nice.
So feel free to reach out to us. We love hearing your stories. We love answering questions, and we're always here to assist whenever we can.
Right. And if you want to reach out, get in contact with any of Life Changing Services, you can visit their website at lifechangingservices.org and find their contact information there. You can get a free copy of the book, Like Dragons Did They Fight, at the URL likedragonsfree.com. You can tell I've been involved in Maurice's marketing team for a little bit. And but until next time, I promise to be of service to you and will allow you to be of service to me until both you and I successfully defeat this demon that assails us.
Amen.
Go fight win.
Yeah, right back at you. If you're listening to this podcast, you have probably found that you are in need of, you are strongly desiring, a level of self-mastery that you have not been able to achieve on your own, or you are a loved one or a parent who knows someone who would like to achieve that level of self-mastery. It's not fun to be in that situation. Been there, done that. I've become a specialist in this area by spending 30 years initially searching for and harvesting eternal principles found in the world of psychology, science, and the words of the prophets, many of them found in the Book of Mormon, for my own sake first, and then I found that they're of great value to others. Instead of just hoarding these concepts, we put them into a book form that is easy for you to access. Like Dragons Did They Fight? You'll understand the reason why it's called that when you start reading it. But go to likedragonsfree.com, get your own free copy of it, download it, and then when you're ready to talk over your circumstances and make a battle plan, call 877-HERO-877, in other words 877-4376. Talk to our headquarters people, and if necessary, they'll arrange for you to have a consultation with me. I am sad that you're going through this, but I've watched thousands and thousands of young warriors gain the confidence and strength they need to be able to have the lives they want now and the futures they desire to have. We will see you soon.
How about now?
Definitely can hear you now. Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's start.
Yeah,
Before it all implodes all over again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.